Hey there guys, and welcome to another Krozzfyre cast. I apologise for not having any videos out lately, as I have been away this weekend. Also, I don't know if you can see it, but you just about missed the end of my black eye, which I was given to in sparring by a girl of the age of 17 who is about 5'4", but let's not talk too much about that because I do have some dignity to maintain. Let's get this replay started and I will explain to you what is going on. So CarlosDanger down here, he has written to me on gamereplays asking about his tier 2 rush. And if he can have a bit of advice about it. So we're going to see him partner up against, or go up against Lyds, who is going to be playing as the Soviets, and he's going to be capping up straight away into this northern, the middle sort of territory. Let's take this fog of war off and let's have a little look at what's going to go down. So Pio-Spam is the obvious kind of sector here. There's no tier 1 building coming out. So this is going to be a rush for tier 2. There's many benefits to this and there's many drawbacks of it, so it's all about practice and learning what your playstyle is. Benefits is obviously getting your firstly getting your troops out faster, because pioneers actually build the fastest in the game because they're the cheapest unit to build. So you can get more units out quicker for cheaper onto the field. However, they are weak. They will lose in a 1-to-1 situation, in any situation. Okay, this is poor. Yeah, they'll always lose in a 1-to-1 situation, but when you have them grouped up, then it's much better. So this is kind of silly, because the whole point of trying to flood the field with your pioneers is that you can cap up as much territory as possible in the shortest amount of time. So you need to have some sort of strong idea of what you're going to be doing. I mean, on one side, if you keep these two pioneers together, because they're separated already, as soon as this guy encounters whoever's capping this, he'll have to retreat. But if you actually went up with both these guys and you actually pushed them off, then you'd be able to control the entire side, because you'd be able to have 2 units free to cap. So here we go. We see the initial engagement. Here come the combat engineers, and yeah, as soon as you're out of cover, you will start to hurt. There you go. You do cap it up. Now what I would do, I'd back these units up, I'd just stop retreat them back to this fence, and then as soon as this guy has finished capping, you can come up and help you out. Okay, retreat back here. And only 3 pioneers is... yeah, you know, it's okay. It's a little risky, because by the time that you have your tier 2 building up and ready to go, you're not going to have that much fuel in the first place anyway. Yes, you'll have your Panzer Grenadiers, but I believe this is part and parcel of the issue. So here come finally these pioneers are going to be having a little bit of assistance from your other pioneers. Remember, this is the only unit we've found so far. It's 2 units down, 2 models down for the pioneer squad. So it's going to be, you know, you will push them off, but it's not without taking some losses. And in the meantime, so we've got conscripts coming down now and taking up this entire right hand side. So I'm imagining this entire right hand side is red, and it is. And the middle is now as well. So you've immediately lost the whole advantage of having those pioneers in the field. By only having 3, if you had 4 of them, you'd been able to, you know, push off a lot easier on that left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you'd been able to maybe dish them damage out to the conscripts, as well as capping them, not losing all these points. So, okay, straight away for a flamer. Pause. It's debatable. I mean, you haven't seen much in terms of your opponent's army. You've only seen one conscript squad. This could be the same conscript squad, but let's have a little look. Yeah, well, actually no, there's 2 conscript squads. So, I mean, a tier 1 threat is still possible. If you've only got pioneers out in the field, a tier 1, there's nothing you can do. There's absolutely nothing you can do against those scout cars. So, if you were to hold on to that munitions and use it instead to, if you need an upgun scout car, for example, then happy days. But okay, decent Molotov coming in from your opponent. You can see how low you guys are now. They're not going to fire when they're moving. They're going to fire the flamethrower. They have to be stationary fire. You need to get this guy out now, because he's so valuable to you. It's not okay. No, he's got to be going down. If he doesn't go down, you're extremely lucky. Okay, extremely lucky. Little flamethrower there. Panzer Grenadiers have now made their appearance. Okay. So you revealed your hands that you've got Panzer Grenadiers coming out straight off. I'm going to keep this bar open just to see what you're building. You know, the entire right-hand flank is... yep, there's not even being guarded whatsoever. This is an ideal opportunity to send one of your pioneers, just go start capping over there. This is, again, part of the good side of the strategy of having so many pioneers, is because you don't want them fighting, you always want them to be capping. So go and be a nuisance. Go and annoy him on the other side of the field. Panzer Grenadiers, and unfortunately this guy is standing in a bit of fire. It's not a very good grenade out either. The trouble with trying to predict the pathing of grenades is that there's obviously a long time between you clicking it and you throwing it, and it's very difficult to predict. So you're better off throwing at the guys in cover, because the worst case scenario is you move them out of the cover, rather than trying to catch a unit that's just moving back and not firing at you in the first place. So Panzer Grenadiers are now going to be assisted by the Pioneers. If he wants to run on into you, that's great for you. But be careful of this, like, running. Okay, actually, a good dodge there. Just be careful of running sideways. If you're running sideways, you're not really firing. And focus fire on your squads as well. There you go. So that guy, as soon as that guy was out, just focus fire onto this squad. He has a flame of his own now. So this means that your other Panzer Grenadiers, I mean, Panzer Grenadiers will beat the Flamer Engineers, but they will take so much loss in terms of manpower. Like, I mean, it's nothing for him to replace them. There's so much for you to replace your Panzer Grenadiers. This isn't the best engagement to get back in, because your guys are very low on health, and they do suffer from critical damage against Flamers. I don't like this engagement. Oh, you're very close. Oh, terrible. Okay. Staying way too long there against something that does counter your infantry. What would help? Well, a half track would certainly help. I mean, that's again, that's another part of the beauty of going for straight for tier 2, is that you've got so many vehicles available to you. Vehicles will force your opponent to get 18 aids at the very least, and if not, again, it's just eliciting a response. If you have the half track out and you didn't get this flamer, you'd be and you didn't throw that grenade, you'd be able to have a flamer half track out right now, which is going to counter absolutely everything that he has in the field, because I believe correctly, yeah, it's just conscripts. He does have an MG out now, so he's revealed he's gone tier 2, which means you've got no vehicles to worry about. Obviously you don't know that until you see the MG. But there we go. I mean, again, just focusing entirely on this left-hand side is just bottlenecking yourself, especially on this map when you've got, you've definitely got 2 entrances out of your base. You can just go and abuse your Pioneers on this right-hand side and have a whale of a time. So one of the Panzer Grenadier squads going down, obviously that's huge. It is a huge loss, but deal with it. This MG is going to be doing a good job against you now as well. If you've got an you'd like to get a grenade in there if possible, but look at this overwhelming numbers. These conscripts just pouring in, and there's little that can be done against it. There's especially with an MG right there, these guys, because it's suppressed, yeah, good job getting those guys out and avoiding the damage from that. But now, unfortunately, your Panzer Grenadiers are in such a vulnerable position. You don't want them here, man. You don't want them here. You're really not going to beat, oh god, what is it, like 18, 22, okay, so that's like 7 to 1 odds for each of you guys, but now he needs to just definitely get out. And again, you're banking on so much fuel, it's almost like you're waiting to go straight for tier 3, which would be viable if you were winning, but you're not. You're really not. And, that's why it's you don't need to be getting out another Panzer Grenadier squad right now, because he's already got your number, he's got your counters, he's got flamers, he's got MGs out. There's little you Panzer Grenadiers can do against that. If you have the backup of vehicles, so even if it's just a scout car, the scout car is going to take some of that manpower drain off of you, because if you can keep it alive and repair it, any damage it does then is free manpower for you, essentially, or free manpower you're causing your opponent. And with a half track, even if you don't have the flamer upgrade to the half track still does okay damage. You can use it to flank. As soon as you do have the munitions as well, you can upgrade it, but it's going to act as a mobile reinforcing point as well for your very weak Pioneers and for your Panzer Grenadiers, which you definitely want to keep in the fight for as long as possible. Okay, good potential flank here if you can make it. Unfortunately, these troops aren't coming through for it. If you had these troops coming through here, these troops, yeah, they're coming around now. Unfortunately, your Pioneers are taking the brunt of too much damage, so by the time they do get involved now, it's going to be a little bit too late for you to collapse in on. Quick little pause just while I'm here. You're going for his field, that's not like a terrible idea, like you want to prevent the tier 3 rush from coming in. Much more importantly on this map though is this point here and this point here. If you can decap both of these, he will lose the entire income. Let me put it on a tactical map for you. So these two, if you decap this, he's going to lose context of all these territories, except that he's got the VP. The VP also connects them up for you on the middle sort of long middle path. If you decap both of these, which is going to take you the time, whatever time it takes to decap that and cap it up for yourself, then you're denying half of the map straight away, and that's exactly what you need to be doing. Again, it's something that pioneers excel at because it uses everything else, you know. Panzer Grenadiers now being closed in on. Okay, you forced off the. Ooh, you might be able to take them down. Actually, very good, very nicely done. I wouldn't really pick up this flamethrower with the Panzer Grenadiers. You kind of want to keep them mobile. Their best. No, okay. Because the flamethrower, it needs to be stationary to fire, and some of the Panzer Grenadiers' best moments is just charging on in and just firing rapidly. You'll see it's reducing the efficiency of the squad unless you keep it still, and you don't even keep it still much. Oh yeah, okay. He might go down as well. If he goes down, he's going to go down to this MG, I believe. Yep, MG should get a nice couple of blitzes into him, into his back. Oh wow, okay. He's carrying the lucky flamer. He's carrying like the Olympic torch. And I missed this down here. You kept these guys. These guys were out of the fight. And they weren't even doing anything. So again, you know, if you even just didn't send them in for that engagement, you could have gone up here and done these 2 decaps, which would have just greatly. Okay, so let's say you've capped this point up. This point isn't giving you anything. Even if you cap this point up, this point isn't going to give you anything. It's not necessarily what you need now. So one of these concept squads is very low. Barrage coming in from this AT gun, you want to... Yeah, okay. You should, if you can keep on charging through, you might be able to avoid the most of it, which you do. Okay, cool. But that was well played by your opponent. He sort of... he had your number there. He had like a barrage going here and Molotov going there. So whatever happens, you're probably going to take damage. But your Panzer Grenadiers have survived. Let's see. You can wipe this AT gun out very easily. Doesn't matter if you can like recap it or not. As long as you can decrew it, it's... yeah, it's better just to decrew it because it forces a conscript squad to go in, repair it, and back out. Shock troops in the field now. Okay, he's definitely got your number now. There's just so much anti-infantry in the field. Plus, he's got the backup of the pack gun, preventing any more of your tier 2 units coming out. And look at this fuel. He just sat in so much fuel, and it could have really been used for so much more than you know. I mean, yeah, okay. What are you getting now? I've just got the mortar half track in. Mortar half track isn't a terrible idea. It's okay actually. I quite like the mortar half track. The trouble that you'll find now is he's only got 2 stationary units. He's only got the pack gun and the MG. So everything else is very mobile. That's gonna wipe that squad. Yeah, nice little jib. Exploded guys. But I mean, you know, conscripts should be able to take. If he's got 18 nades, he'll 18 nade this, and he'd be able to take this down very easily with small arms alone. But he's not. He's going to back out. He could have taken that down if he wanted to. Pack gun was very early. I'm going to pause it again slightly because I just want to talk about this again. Pack guns are very good in the German army because you know, as soon as the enemy, like the Russians, get out P4s. Then, sorry, Russians get out Su-85s, excuse me. Then your tanks aren't really as much effective. They need that immobile pack emplacement or this pack gun to actually start dishing out some damage against armor. But there's no like, there's nothing. He doesn't need armor. He's rocking you with infantry alone. Like there's no MG out or anything like that as well. I mean, in this situation, I would have pumped out a couple of vehicles at tier 2 and back-tech to tier 1, because even though you're rushing straight for tier 2, it doesn't mean that going for tier 1 is completely out of the order, because this more half track is going to go down here, I believe. Oh wow, very lucky to get out. So 3 kills, 3 kills. That's very lucky kills. But as I was saying, I'd back-tech to tier 1 because things like the MG42 for the Germans is fantastic. It is so good. It is, you know, completely outweighs the Maxim, I feel, especially after the recent patch. And Grenadiers are very useful as well for preventing, if he did get any light vehicles out, well, Panzer Grenadiers, you'd have to either save up for 120, excuse me, for the Panzerschrecks upgrade, or you'd have to actually just rely on your pack alone, which would be devastating. So, Grenadiers are... Eek, it's a good grenade by those shock troops. The shock troops will do some decent damage. The good thing with shock troops, the thing that I should really point out, obviously they are expensive. 480 manpower, it is expensive as compared to 360 of Panzer Grenadier Squad. That said, one decent grenade from shock troops means that if one shock troop goes up against 2 Panzer Grenadier Squads, the shock troops can win. All right, that's how good they are. Bear that in mind when you're throwing in your Panzer Grenadiers against them. Again, capping up with 2 units here. You know, you really don't want to be doing this. You really need territories. You really need to start capping up as much as you can. Okay, shock troops coming in. Again, this flame of Panzer Grenadier, I'm not too happy with. He's just had excellent grenades. There you go. So these Pioneers are going to go down, I believe. No, he's not focusing on the Pioneers, but he's going to take out the Panzer Grenadiers instead. Soon. Okay. Packen's going to think it's fire out. Mortar's fully repaired. Mortar could be out here helping. A nice attempt at a grenade, but I wouldn't have stuck it out that long. The trouble is when you're winding up your grenade, you're like throwing it for ages, and it's very obvious. Then you let it go, and by that time the guy's already sort of moved off the field. The trouble is in Mortar Half Track, it's such a light vehicle. You know, it gets taken down so easily. You can't have it as a frontline force. You really can't move it much further forward than what it is now. You need some sort of screening infantry. Way too many troops at base. Way too many troops at base. And not that much in terms of infantry either, so it's a little bit sad. Obviously lost Pioneers. And a third Panzer Grenadier squad now? Again, okay. As soon as your opponent does go for a vehicle, he's just going to tear you apart. Okay, there's a nice thing down that conscript squad. That's at least something. These guys are going to get pinned by the base MG. Mortar Half Track should back up a little bit just because you don't want to be taking unnecessary damage, especially now they got the 18-8 on you. Ooh, very close, very lucky to get behind that bush. And yeah, that's a decent damage against there. Panzer Grenadiers, what are you doing? You've just won that engagement and you're standing about. There you go. Pioneers should stop running and start trying to attack on these conscripts. Start trying to wail on them. Panzer Grenadiers will really get a good flank on this MG. Grenade going in. If you can steal this MG, I would totally recruit it with Panzer Grenadiers, because it becomes such a beast machine. Like the other three guys who aren't firing the Maxim are Panzer Grenadiers. You know, the same with this packet. Because you just got so many here, you may as well do it, because those items are now, you know, they're kind of expensive. Obviously, Panzer Grenadiers are expensive to reinforce, but they just become mean machines. They become so good. You can see these Pioneers actually stood up quite well against the conscripts with the aid, I believe, of this, of this. More half track in base, being threatened in base, which is never fun. But I mean, he's running way too far into your base here. Oh yeah, more half track will go down. Abandoned, very lucky to get that. And yes, you did actually recruit. Okay, sadly the pack gun. The pack gun wasn't the priority, the machine gun was. Simply because, like I say, there's no vehicles on the field for him, or at least none that is revealed. He doesn't need them because he's winning with infantry alone. The MG, so the Maxim, would have been a lot better choice to pick up there. If you picked him up with the Panzer Grenadiers, you would have kept that flamer. The last guy would have kept the flamer because you didn't die or anything like that. So yeah, that's what I would have done. Instead of grabbing that, I would have grabbed the MG. Now with the Mortar Half Track, definitely recruit with just your Pioneers, because the guys are inside the vehicle, so it's, you know, their armor and their accuracy isn't really accounted for at all. Panzer Grenadiers were in decent cover. You could have maybe hung out a little bit longer there and baited out the grenade, because worst case scenario is you're going to be KV-8 time. Alright, okay. So now here's a KV-8, and yes, you do have the packs. You got two packs. Hopefully he's just going to try and bum rush you. Yes, he does. So both packs will be able to start wailing off in this KV-8, and it's going to go down eventually. But this pack gun will be roasted in no time. But there's nothing to prevent this. He's just going to be able to come in here and just roll over all the pack guns, and there's no Shrek to tie him up or anything like that. Good turning of the pack gun. He didn't like move him. He just turned him. Oh, propaganda war right in the base. That's well played. You don't see propaganda war that much. There's kind of effective use for it right in the base here like this. Propaganda war makes your troops suck, basically. They're either pinned or they will have their accuracy reduced. So it's kind of random what actually happens, but you can see there it really worked in this base pin. KV-8 alone is just going to rule the roost. If he can take out this pack gun, which I believe he will, he's taking out so much infantry now as well. Pack gun is inevitably going to go down. Let's take the fog of war off. And there you go. That would be a good game, I believe. Oh, pack gun has been recruited. Did you just recruit it with the pack? Well, okay. Yeah, wasting the Pioneers to recruit the pack. I mean, it's difficult because obviously you definitely need the pack gun, but it's not worth that. Anyway, what went wrong? What could you do to improve? So, starting off with 3 Pioneers is risky because, like I said, you have no initial pressure. You have no initial capping advantage. The whole point of doing it is it's like a counter to the count. Well, yeah, it's a counter to a conscript spam because you have more units on the field than he does, cheaper units than he can field, and you'll be able to pressure him off then as well if necessary. It's cool. We've got a nice little freeze frame of leaflets flying out of the air. Yeah, so that's part and parcel of why the initial build didn't work. Secondly, have a plan. If you want to sort of just rush into Panzer Grenadiers, that's fine. So long as there is merit for it, like say, there's no scout cars out. As soon as there's a scout car or a sniper, don't touch them with a barge pole because you'll start paying through the nose for it. So having like the 4th, maybe even the 5th Pioneer Squad, depending on the size of the map, helps. Getting that early flamer, I'd say no, because you went for the Panzer Grenadiers. Your Panzer Grenadiers is going to be anti-infantry then anyway. So rather than putting the flamers on a weaker unit, I would have, like I say, either saved it up for using it on the half track, or again, if just even having it as preventative measure for any light AT if you needed to upgrade a scout car. Scout car would have done fine against you. He wasted a lot of munitions throwing Molotovs and a lot of AT nades and things like that. So when you sort of, obviously your opponent had massive map controls, that never helped. But if you can lure him into sort of wasting those munitions, do it. And you can only do that with having vehicles in the field. Again, I made the point of backteching a tier 1. It's never a bad idea. Whenever you see a player that's fielding a majority of Panzer Grenadiers, the manpower expense is phenomenal. Like your bill is just up to your arm all day, every day. It's not the best way of doing it. I mean, it definitely works in games like 2v2s, 3v3s, 4v4s, when your partner is supporting you with Grenadiers and other infantry, but in a 1v1, nah, it's a desperation move. You can tell it's a desperation move, and especially when you start losing a squad, you're like, oh, I'll get some Panzer Grenadiers because they're a better squad. No, I mean, the KV-8 would have gone down if you had a single Grenadier squad. If you had a single Shrek on that thing, it would have gone down, because obviously having the 2 packs to deal with it there. So it's a bit unfortunate that never happened, but there we go. I mean, again, banking, I don't think you spend any fuel at all apart from getting a tier 2. So there's a large resource there that's not being utilized. And finally, map control. Okay, let's have a little look at map control. In the early game, this is now back to original state. In the early game, you just wanted to cap on the left hand side. That's okay. As an austere going tier 1 with an MG, it's kind of more typical just to cap up on one side and then the MG will lock it down. Whereas a Soviet player typically will just sort of bum rush the whole map, or attempt to bum rush the whole map, and then as soon as he encounters a problem, stick to the other side. With the Pioneer Spam, as I briefly mentioned, if you keep 2 of them together, they can push off any one unit of the Soviet player. So if the Soviets send out 1 conscript squad, your 2 Pioneers should be able to flank him and push him off. That's what you want to happen. It doesn't matter if you like kill more troops or lose more troops, as long as you force the retreat, and then you can you're capping up, and you've got double the amount of time to cap up, because obviously he's retreating, he has to get them back to the same point, and you've got 2 units which can cap at one point and cap at the next point as well. And you can, if you have like the 1 or 2 squads which aren't actually partnered up, that's fine, because they can just go and be annoying. They can go and take the cut-off points, they can go and cap up different areas, and they will just frustrate your opponent. Because again, as a Soviet player, that's what's good about Soviets, is having so many conscripts on the field that you can just go and sort of decap something with one of your conscripts, and it doesn't really matter that much because you still got a bulk of an army. So yeah, I mean, okay, I touched briefly upon this earlier. Let's finish off what I was saying. Have a plan when it comes to your actually capping up your points. So if you really wanted to rush out Panzer Grenadiers, then it's actually not such a bad idea to go 3 Pioneers, because basically your manpower income is only dictated by your army size. The amount of points don't give you manpower. Manpower is only deduced by the size of your army. The larger your army, the less your manpower income is. But I mean, you should, thinking forward from that, then you should think, okay, well, I need something to protect my Panzer Grenadiers. Is it going to be a half track to reinforce off of? Is it going to be the scout card to deny any light vehicle play? So I would focus on the munitions. I mean, by the time you had that building finished, you didn't have that much fuel, so I think you might have been able to push out a scar car. I can't quite remember. But a fuel is always good. But then if you focus on the fuel, by the time your half track comes out, you don't normally have enough munitions to get the upgrade straight away. I'm just sort of free flowing with my thoughts here. I'm not really sort of being quite informative as I'm trying to be. It's not formatting out of my mouth as it is in my head. What I'm trying to say is, you know, either have a fuel-based game plan or a munitions-based game plan. Therefore, when you're OPing up, it becomes a lot easier. So if you're one of those players who throws tons of grenades, go for munitions. If you like all your LMG upgrades, go for munitions. If you like your vehicle play and like your manpower preservation, go for fuel. That simple. But there we are. Hopefully, I mean, there's quite a lot, I think, in this short video. I hope that I've brought some joy to the faces of, I was about to say young boys everywhere then, but I don't think that's really quite right. You know what I mean, guys. It's late, it's early, whatever. I will see you all in the next cast, and hopefully, CarlosDanger / preetamj, AMJ. Hopefully you learned something anyway. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you next time.